Can anybody actually make money building and selling PCs on Facebook Marketplace? I decided to find this out for myself a little over a year ago, and frankly, I've been pretty surprised at the results. So in this video, I'm going to talk about how many computers I've sold, how much money I made, what's the most popular hardware, all of that kind of stuff, so stay tuned. I'm sure your biggest question is, well, how much money did I make? In the last 12 months of flipping PCs, I've made $4,088.64. That's going to be divided up in kind of two different areas. I made $166.40 doing odd jobs. I cable managed a PC for somebody, swapped a hard drive out, different little things like that. That wasn't too much, so $166. The rest of that money, $3,922.24, was profit from selling PCs. That profit was divided over 26 successful PC sales. If you take those 26 sales and divide it into the profit, the average is $150.85 per flip, which I'm pretty happy with. That's usually what I aim for. The lowest sales price I've had for one of my PCs is $450. The highest sales price I've had is $1,450, so about $1,000 range in between there. But the average sale price is $765, which is right exactly where I like to be. I mainly build AMD, AM4, and RTX mid-range gaming PCs, so this is right about where I want to be in my market. There is a lot of debate online in the flipping communities about which types of hardware are the most popular, and of course it's going to vary area to area and based on what your sales prices are and things like that, but here was my results. Of the 26 PCs I sold in my first 12 months, 10 of them had Intel processors, 16 had AMD processors. The most common Intel processor that I had was a 12600KF. I sold 3 of those. And for AMD, it's going to be the Ryzen 5 3600. I sold 8 PCs with that processor. Now let's get into the question probably is biggest on everybody's mind is graphics cards. Of the 26 PCs I sold, 20 of them featured an NVIDIA graphics card. The lowest performance card was a 1060 6GB, and the highest card was a 4070 Super. For the 6 AMD graphics card builds that I sold, the range was from an RX 6600 all the way up to a 7900 GRE, and oddly enough, it was 6 different GPUs through that range, so not a single one did I sell more than once. When I started flipping PCs, I didn't have like a big goal of what I wanted to do with the money. I'm not saving up for a down payment. I'm not trying to buy a car. I'm not trying to pay off a bookie. None of those things. So I really didn't have a specific goal, and I struggled to kind of identify that in my videos. Let me know in the comments if you think that's something that would help or something you want to see, but I didn't really have anything specific I was trying to do. So what did I do with the money? Well, I definitely spent a lot of it. And the main destination of that money was I upgraded my personal PC twice. The first PC that I built was in a Montech Air 903. I had a 12600KF and a 6700 XT, which was a great computer. But since I had the money, I wanted to go ahead and make some upgrades. So I upgraded to this one here, in a Montech King 95. I kept the same 12600KF, but I put a RX 7900 GRE in there, and that was an awesome build. But I noticed that while editing, it still left a little bit to be desired. So recently, I upgraded my personal rig again into this newest one in the Be Quiet Light Base 900 case. I've got a Ryzen 9 9900X and a 7900 XTX. This thing is awesome. Even though I spend a fair amount of money upgrading my personal setup and different things like that, I still kept enough money going in through the system to continue to build and sell PCs. In fact, I've got 3 PCs in various states of completeness ready to sell at this moment. As much fun as I've had building and selling PCs over the last year, there has been a couple low points. Here's a computer that I built specifically for a girl, exactly to the specs that she wanted. Delivered it, she loved it, but she was having issues with what she called lagging. Turned out it was Wi-Fi network issues, and I was never able to figure it out. So I gave her a bunch of different things to try. None of that worked. I actually drove an hour to her house to try to troubleshoot it, brought her computer home, verified there was nothing wrong with it. It just wasn't working well in her space. Never figured that out. I ended up buying it back from her, and it worked out okay because I sold it for more to somebody else after that, but that was still kind of a low point. I was pretty disappointed that I wasn't able to keep her as a happy customer. Second low point I had was I had a kid who I sold a computer to. It was actually a computer that my son built. He was really proud of it, and we sold it to another kid who was fairly young. And it was stupid of me, but I ended up letting him short me by $50 on the sales price at the moment, with the promise he was going to pay me in the future because he just wanted to get in there and start playing Fortnite. It turns out he was lying. He ended up buying it and then putting it right back on Marketplace and selling it for more than I sold it to him, and he never paid me the $50. Lesson learned, you got me, kid. That was disappointing, but another low point. And I think probably the last one that I'll mention is there's just going to be periods of time, if you're trying to sell PCs throughout the year, that just nothing moves, where it was right after Christmas in January to February. In the summertime, it's also pretty scarce. So you just have to be prepared. If you're going to sell PCs, there will be some low times in the sales market where things just don't move as fast. So to go along with a lot of those low points, I had some really awesome highs as well. My very first PC sale was super exciting. I just took some old parts from a very old PC that I found in my attic that I had built like 15 years ago, threw a couple extra parts on it, upgraded the GPU, and I sold it and made a little bit of money on that one. And I'll never forget that sale. The guy was super sketchy, changed the meet location at the last minute. I thought I was going to get robbed. I didn't. I survived, and that ultimately kicked me off on my journey. So that was really fun. I also had a lot of fun upgrading my personal PC, learning about new parts, staying engaged with what the parts that are coming out. So that's been a ton of fun, and I love happy customers and good reviews. That's been the majority of my experience, is having really positive interactions with people, making sales, and learning later how much they've enjoyed their PCs. In fact, I've had one guy who I've had such a great time with that I've sold him 2 PCs. He's referred 2 people to me to buy PCs, one of which is pretty high end. I'll be doing a video about that in the future, but it's a commission build for him with all brand new stuff, really high end, over $2,000 budget. And then a third guy who asked me to fix his computer for him. So having a really good interaction with one customer has led to 4 more positive transactions with people where I'm selling them computers or fixing stuff for them. So that has been super rewarding. All in all, I've had an absolute blast learning to buy and sell PCs. I've also been able to use the profits of that to upgrade my personal setup, which is really cool and a lot of fun. Probably one of the biggest things that I've taken away from this is I've made some good relationships with some other guys doing the same sort of thing. Guys who are doing the YouTube thing, other guys who are just flipping locally. I've made some friends along the way as well, which is a huge benefit to being out in this space and being involved in this little side business. So I appreciate everybody watching. If you've hung with me from the beginning to now, thank you so much. If you're a new subscriber or a new viewer, thanks for being here. I really enjoy it. Leave me any feedback down in the comments. I appreciate everybody. Looking forward to another year building and selling PCs and making YouTube videos about it. Thanks.